Hi, I'm Serena. I'm a somatic educator and mindfulness coach, and today we are going to explore an active rest. Active rest is also called a guided lie down or just a lie down or semi-supine. But active rest describes what we're exploring today in that we're taking a nice rest, but we're gonna be a little more active. We're not taking a nap, you're not gonna go unconscious. So go ahead and find a comfortable spot on the floor. I have a yoga mat here, but a rug or a carpet will do just fine. You can't just be on the couch or your bed. There's just not enough firm support on the couch or the bed. So find your spot on the floor. You'll want 2 books at least. It doesn't matter the exact height, but somewhere between 2 and 3 inches of height through some stacked books to support your head. And go ahead and get yourself on the floor on your back with your knees bent so that your feet are flat on the floor. And you're gonna go ahead and get your head resting on the books. So there'll be space where your neck is here. You don't need to have support at your neck, you need support at your head so that your head doesn't drop back like this. And you don't want it so high that your chin is like really coming into your chest. So don't worry too much about it, but find a comfortable spot with a little support at your head. Go ahead and adjust your clothes so you're nice and comfy. And again, legs are bent so that your feet are flat on the floor, your head is supported by books, and the rest of you is just resting. You can have your hands on the floor if you'd like, your arms here on the floor. I would recommend though that you let your hands rest somewhere on your torso. I like my hands here at the low ribs, but down here at the pelvis is also nice. If either of those are a little uncomfortable, go ahead and you can, bring your hands higher up here, really anywhere on your torso that feels most comfortable right now. And the lovely part is that you're already doing it, right? This is the active rest. We have gotten to the floor on our backs and we're taking a little moment to rest and pay attention. So the active part here is important. In a typical meditation, you might close your eyes so that you can go more internal. Today, I'm going to ask you to keep your eyes open so that you can know where you are in the room as you pay attention to yourself. You don't go too internal. Great. So your back is resting back on the floor. Your eyes are open, looking at the ceiling. And in your peripheral vision, you can see the room around you a bit. And now we get to the nice resting part. Really allow yourself to take stock of all your points of contact here. So of course your back is resting on the floor. Your pelvis is resting. Maybe you can even pay attention to each pelvic half that is resting on the floor. Both your feet are resting on the floor and your head is resting on the books that are resting on the floor. And last but not least, your elbows are resting on the floor and your hands are resting somewhere on your torso. So make note of all these points of contact. And ask yourself if you can allow yourself to be supported by all these points of contact. Can you allow the floor to come up to meet you rather than you coming down to meet the floor? So in a way, you're receiving an up from the floor, from all of these points of contact. And ideally, this feels really supportive as you're resting back, allowing yourself to be held. If you haven't already, you can put your phone or whatever screen you're using to practice this active rest. You can put it down somewhere. I will verbally guide you through the rest of this exploration, so you don't need to be able to look at the screen. So we'll play with our imagination now as you allow yourself to be supported at your feet, pelvis, back, head, elbows, hands. You're receiving all of this support. You can add a little more thought, a little more intention by asking your neck to be just a little more free. It's just an idea to play with. Ooh, if I can let a little bit of excess tension, a little bit of excess effort go, specifically in my neck, what happens? And if right now the answer is nothing, or nothing in your awareness, that's fine. Just continue to play with the idea. So it's like you're wishing for your neck to be free and seeing what happens. You're not pushing or pulling or trying to lengthen your neck in a direct way. We're sending some thoughts, some wishes, and seeing if something happens, allowing a little space for possibility. So you have all this support, and you wish for your neck to be a little more free, so that maybe your head can release a little bit more off the top of your spine, so that your back can lengthen and widen. Imagining some lengthening and widening through the back is incredibly helpful as we allow ourselves to rest while still staying active, right? So we're allowing the rest. We're taking time to literally lie on our backs, but we're still here with our thinking. And you can almost imagine your head releasing away from your tail as your torso widens, as your shoulders widen. You can even think of your elbows releasing away. Maybe pay attention to your fingertips and imagine that like laser light beams release out your fingertips. There's a kind of opposition of your fingertips releasing away from your elbows. Nice, and your pelvis is resting on the floor and your feet are on the floor. And notice if it feels like a lot of effort to keep your legs up. Maybe they want to drop to one side or the other. Use your imagination to picture two headlights on your kneecaps that are shining towards where the wall meets the ceiling at your toes. So it's like your knees are shining away from your hips. So there's this opposition again of your knees away from your hips. And maybe that makes it a little easier to just let your knees stay up without having to put in a lot of effort. Because it is a rest, even though our eyes are still open and we're still paying attention to where we are in the room. Nice. So we have these oppositions that we've talked about now, of the head releasing away from the tail, the fingertips from your elbows, and now your knees away from your hips. Play with bringing these oppositions to your attention and noticing what's most helpful for you right now. Is it most helpful to think of your head releasing away from your tail without doing it, just thinking about it? Or is it more helpful to think of fingertips away from elbows, maybe knees away from hips? Or maybe it's most helpful to just come back to all those points of support. Both of your feet on the ground, Your pelvis resting, your back resting, your elbows resting, and your hands on your torso. And of course, your head is resting on the books. Come back once again to this idea of letting your neck be a little more free. Don't worry too much about what that means. Just play with this idea. I wish for my neck to be a little more free so that my head can release off the top of my spine, so that my back can lengthen and widen, and my legs can release away from my hips. There is no particular thing for you to do right now, no specific stretch or place that I want you to find. This is time for you to rest on your back with your eyes open and give yourself some luxurious time to pay attention to yourself, to care about how you feel. You're welcome to stay for a moment or two longer. A few more minutes could feel really nice, but when you are ready, go ahead and bring your feet a little closer together by moving one foot at a time. And choose whichever side you're going to roll towards to get off your back. Don't just rush to get off the floor and undo all this nice time you've given yourself, this nice support you've received. And we're going to take some of this support that we've received from the floor with us as we get out. So your feet are closer together now. Go ahead and let both of your knees drop to one side. And you're going to let the opposite arm cross over the body so that you're rolling onto one side and you have a hand pressing into the floor. You press into the floor to help yourself get back up to a seated position without having to lead with your head or really work your back too much. So you can almost imagine that the floor is still giving you some support as you come up to upright. So take your time to slowly move into a seated position and notice that a lot has shifted just in this couple of minutes. Take some time here in seated, upright, before you slowly come to your feet. And I hope that you found a little quiet, a little bit of rest that feels different than waking up for a nap. Take good care of yourself, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.